I was brought up right. If you raise your dress, then I will fight.
Hello and welcome to the Fisher Protocol, a channel dedicated to the world's greatest rock and roll band, The Who. The band is a shared passion of ours, and these discussions are more of a personal journey than a critical review. Also, no money is made from these videos, so please let us know we're not alone in Who land by taking a quick second to like, subscribe, and share with your Who-minded friends. Constructive feedback is always welcome either in the comments below or on Twitter and Instagram at Fisher Protocol. My name is Ethan. Today I'm joined by my regular Who chums, Tom and Betts, to discuss Pete Townshend's Psychoderelict, music only. We do not claim to be experts, just fans of the world's greatest rock and roll band, The Who. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, doing all right.
Good, you?
Good. I'm going to get right into it here. Psychoderelict, music only, released on June 15th, 1993, and recorded from 1990 to 1993. Psychoderelict is a multimedia extravaganza by Pete Townshend, originally released as a radio play with dialogue over the music. After slow sales of the initial dialogue release, after an intense negative reaction to the original album, a music-only version was included. That's what we're going to go over today. Psychoderelict, I'm pretty excited about this one. Tom, did you have what's your history with Psychoderelict?
I think I found, I was probably at Record Tape Traders a cajillion years ago and probably saw a used copy of this somewhere, and I picked it up and I listened to it, and there's people talking all over the damn thing, and I said, well, I don't like this album. And I probably never listened to it again, having not known that there was another version that didn't have people talking all over the thing. So and this was probably in the days before easy access to, getting information about the album and all that stuff too. So yeah, didn't do anything for me originally. This was a much better experience having listened to the music only version.
Yeah.
That's you?
Very similar. I bought my copy at a pawn shop, and then I got stuck at a Christmas parade and my car overheated, and I put it on and I heard people talking and I was like, nope, and put on Whistle Rhymes. So then I didn't pick it up again until we did the show, but I'm glad we did.
Yeah, so I was definitely in my it was in that wasteland of my life where I'd found the Who, but they were never going to tour again kind of thing. So I was taking everything I could, and Tommy, the Broadway show, was coming out at the same time. So I was all amped up for Psychoderelict when it came out. And I got it, and same thing, man. I heard people talking over the songs, and I was just like, man, it's kind of a bummer, right? And the music, when the music only version came out, I got that kind of right away. And so that's why I'm familiar with a bunch of songs. And I'm not going to talk too much about plot or anything here because I might be doing that, a deeper dive with that later, because I really got into it this time, listening to it again. So yeah, I kind of, there's definitely like things that pop on here that are things that I've heard a lot, whether it's through Pete Live or whatever. I'm just going to kick it off with English Boy, right? So we have the centerpiece of the album, right? So a little bit about plot. It's a Pete-type character, Ray High, and, I'm not going to go into that. But it bookends the album, much like Shine On You Crazy Diamond or something like that, right?
Yes.
A part 1 and a part 2. I really liked it. You know what I mean? It really got me going into it. He performed it on Leno, which is a video of. It definitely has this like almost electronic EDM like drum sound on it that he's using, programmed drums, even though I heard a live drummer in there. And it's definitely got very Who-y won't get fooled again type thing in the middle to get all us Who guys into the album, and Who guys and gals. So, I really like English Boy. I kind of like, I always talk about the Fillmore 96 show. There's a really, that tour, he did a really awesome acoustic version of it, which I would love to learn. Tom, English Boy? Were you brought up right?
This is definitely, one of the songs on the album that I had known beforehand. It's probably on some best of compilation somewhere for Pete. the little like there's the one little part before the chorus that I really don't care for. Like it's kind of disjointed, like boop. I mean, I don't. It's just for me. But the chorus though, I love. It's definitely catchy.
Yeah, Bets. What do you think?
My boy do love an anthem, and this is an anthem, and it's that kind of walk straight down the street, or puts me in mind a lot of Rough Boys and Dr. Jimmy. Just it's a great way to set it off, and I love his little yelling voice when he does his yelling singing. I love that a lot. So 10 out of 10 for this one for me.
Well, every time when he does those, he's like trying to like channel his inner adultery sometimes.
Yeah.
Like this is right on this line right here. I could really use Roger. You know what I mean? And he pushes.
This would be a great Roger song, really.
I think it'd be better than some.
Yeah.
I think it'd be better than Let My Love Open the Door, for instance. We'll go over that later. Anyway, I'm gonna get in trouble now. Okay, so the album has about 3 or 4 of these little breaks. The music only one, with these Meher Baba tracks, which are Lifehouse.
Yeah.
Tracks. Lifehouse demo stuff. This is my second favorite of the two, Meher Baba M3. And I had to look up because it has this vibe. The protagonist is supposed to be listening to his old tapes, which are Pete's old tapes.
Wow. Okay.
Right. And and I had to look up. Did you guys look up what they were shouting? Like what the crowd was kind of shouting on this?
No.
We demand a universal grid.
Okay.
So it's really going back to that grid concept in Lifehouse.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of those? This first one of these interstitial.
For me, I liked it. I didn't know what to expect, and I enjoyed all of these actually, but this one was good. Just the nice swelling guitars in the background. There's kind of this weird tempo change, and then it kind of goes into like a Pete style song. I thought. I didn't look, but is Pete playing guitar on this, like the lead and all that, or?
You know what? I want to say, I'm sorry I didn't do the research. For most of it, it sounds like Pete is playing guitar.
Yeah.
I know that this album was recorded over 3 years, and there's a ton of people on it.
Right.
But guitar players didn't stand out to me. Stuff like Pino Palladino stood out, or Andy Fairweather Lowe, or those people.
Yeah.
Right, but not a guitar player. On other tracks, it was very noticeable to me that it was Pete playing guitar. This one, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I couldn't tell either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love the expansive sound of this, and I made a note that it's Pete Townshend's The Wall, but again, it's great, and like I said, that big expansive sound and everything was really pretty.
Right on.
Yeah.
Let's get pretentious. This is kind of a big one for me. Like I really like the song. I've liked it for a very long time. I always forget that the lady who is another protagonist in the show has a verse at the end for some reason, because I when I listen to it, I always listen to music only, so it's not part of a narrative for me. It's always like Pete saying let's get pretentious, because he's always accused of being pretentious, and so he leans in on that sometimes, and I like it when he does it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like in this, I don't like it when he does it other times. #Age of Anxiety. Maybe because I'm not smart enough. I don't know. And if you listen to these, I watched a 3-part interview, which I think is on the live DVD of this. And he talked about his pretension and all that kind of stuff. But I always liked it. It always stood out on the chorus. I don't know much, but I know what I like. I don't know much. So and so said such and such. On and on. I like the song a lot.
Good song. I liked it too. Definitely has like a weird structure to how it's written, but I do enjoy it though. It was really a good song. It was a surpriser for me because I had no experience with it before. So yeah, good song.
It gets very full on deep end at the end, and I like it when it does that.
Yeah.
Bets, what do you think?
I love too when he kind of leans in and takes the piss out of himself. So this was a fun one, and like I said, I really like when he does that. So
right on. So this is my favorite of the Meher Baba M4s, just because it's like a slow. Obviously, it's "Who Are You?"
Yeah.
I like it. I could just listen to that in the background because I'm such a who nut.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm with you there. Good.
My question is, does this mean that this little bit that we know from Who Are You was originally conceived for Lifehouse? Does anybody have that info?
Don't want to throw that out there, but I'm
Okay.
going to look it up soon. And I think
Okay.
yes, but I don't know.
Interesting. Interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a leftover bit of Lifehouse. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, but I'll check that out.
Okay.
That's one of those we're not experts kind of things.
No.
Yeah.
And it's practically probably like impossible to find that info. You know.
Yeah. Bets, what do you think of Early Morning Dreams?
It reminded me a lot of Radio London Reminds You.
Right.
This is the grid suit one. And yeah, going back and comparing Lifehouse to Psychoderelict, and I was like, dang, Pete, you like predicted the Matrix, bro. So, but it did remind me a lot of Radio London Reminds You. Nice little commercial.
How about you, Tom?
I thought it was very Beach Boysy
Yeah.
esque with the vocals and the layers and all that stuff. And yeah, I thought it was a fun little song. And if Pete wanted to write a Beach Boys song, this is kind of as close as he's gotten at some point in his career, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I found a lot of this on this album. Like, there's two movements to songs, right? They start off and then they go into like a full other thing, and this was one of them.
Yeah.
Good standard Pete Townshend like acoustic work and layered vocals, and I really liked it. The next one is kind of the opposite. I Want That Thing. Like, it starts off, it sounds like it's going to be something like Uniforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
From All the Best Cowboys to me, but then, it's not my favorite song. It goes off into another thing that I'm not really into it, but that's okay.
I thought what I wrote was, I thought it was an album or a song that would end up on Endless Wire. I thought it was definitely in that vibe of just how the song sounded, how it was written, just the vibe of it. I thought it was like kind of Endless Wire-y vibe. I don't know. I'm surprised you didn't care for it.
See, now I feel bad. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it like 3 times to make sure I'm not wrong.
My notes were that it was another fun one, and that I was really happy to see that this record doesn't slow down. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. And so
I agree. Outlive a Dinosaur is one that I really do like. Just because it's that slow bubbling, like almost EDM is not the word for it, but electronic thing he was going for. And this is like just a couple years after like house music had really taken off in the UK and everything. And so that's all around. And he was always on the cutting edge of those kind of production, of whatever new music production was going on at the time. And this is kind of like, you can tell it's him screwing around on a machine of some kind. Mm-hmm. And he comes up with lyrics to go with what he made. I like that one. How about you guys? Beth?
I really like it. It covers a lot of Pete's themes, which are, that sort of early promise of I hope I die before I get old, and then outgrowing that. So yeah, typical, very, 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 very Pete.
Yeah, I'd heard this one before at some point. I'm not a big fan of like the whispery vocals, but it's a good song. It's not the top of my list on this album, but it's the top half for sure.
Yeah, and to Betts' point, like, by this time he was definitely being called a rock dinosaur with all those other bands. You know what I mean? It's definitely well into the dinosaur thing, so it's not lost on us. And to your point, Tom, also, the whispering thing, this album, I really got into it because it really does show every side of him. Like, he's trying to write songs for this narrative, and since he's quote unquote writing from outside the story, I'll get into that later, but you got the slow, like, whispering thing, you have the loud shouting thing, and then you have the regular Pete Townshend stuff, and you have like you have pure like pop could be chart successful, which is like Now and Then, right?
Mm.
Like I think like if you take that same audience that bought, Let My Love Open the Door 10 years later and you like hammer them with, Now and Then on adult oriented radio or something, I think it would have been a huge hit, honestly.
Yeah.
He did it live for a long time. It's very much like almost like A Friend Is a Friend. It goes in with that from Iron Man. And it's kind of like perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite song on the album. I really enjoyed that song. Just builds really nicely. It's got this droning background, and Pete just singing, masterclass in singing, and yeah, definitely my favorite song on the album.
That's
Really like it. It was inspired by a woman that he'd had a relationship with, and he just kind of wanted to be friends with her.
Ooh,
So
do
you
tell.
hear, huh?
Ooh, do tell.
Just one of those things that he
Okay.
had going on. He's a busy guy.
Yeah.
But he wanted to maintain a friendship afterwards, and you really feel that emotion with this. And so this is one I really is a standout for me.
Yeah. Again, shout out Fillmore 96. It's got a great version on it. I think I Am Afraid actually suffers from being next to it a little bit. I love I Am Afraid. Bets, what do you think of I Am Afraid?
I did agree. I love this one the most. I mean, I don't know if you're saying it suffers in comparison. This is my favorite one, and this might be becoming one of my favorite Pete songs. Period. Really, really beautiful song. And vulnerable, terribly vulnerable.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah, I like the song. It's pretty decent. There's some really nice bass playing on it. There's a nice the guitar solo is kind of interesting. Nice harmonica solo. Obviously, it's Andy Fairweather Lowe, or right? That's
Peter Hope Evans is the harmonica player guy.
Yeah, duh. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
As soon as it came out of my mouth, I knew I wasn't the right person.
They got three. Everybody's got three names.
Yeah, exactly.
Like serial killer.
Like American Assassins. Yeah.
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 That doesn't sound right.
James Earl Ray, John Wilkes Booth, Harvey Oswald. All right, forget it. Anyway. Okay, so I'm afraid. I just thought that being right next to Now and Then,
Yeah.
it suffers a little for it because it gets a little bit more vulnerable than Now and Then, right?
Yeah, it does.
Almost Dire Straitsy to me in a way. And that's where I really could hear Pete's guitar playing, and I definitely put a note that you could hear that Peter Hope Evans harmonica brimming under the surface at the end. And I don't know who played bass on it. It's probably Pino Palladino, but I pictured Chicho Martin on it. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. He's the other gentleman that played with Pete a lot in that time period. So, it's a great song. And, we got like 3 or 4 great songs here in a row.
Yeah, they do.
Don't Try to Make Me Real is probably my favorite on the album. Just because when I was coming up as a little Whoite with my Who.net/Who tabs, this would be one of my favorite songs to play. I really like it. It's a bit prophetic in a little bit of the lyrics. I won't go into that too much now. And it really feels like the little is enough from this album to me. I don't know if you guys got that same kind of vibe from it. That's
again, the classic Pete themes. I can't be what you want me to be. I'll fail you every time, kind of thing. Kind of like a little bit toward the end of Tommy, but again, there's no failures on this record at all. No duds. I'm really enjoying.
Yeah, I'd heard this song before as well. Great song, good energy. Love the harmonica. Yeah, just a solid song, straight through.
Did you think Predictable was predictable, Tom? No, sorry.
Yeah, that wild intro, and I couldn't tell whether it was a guitar or a synth or a mix or, yeah, cool song. Just really kind of out there, and Pete Townsend in the '90s. You know what I mean? Just like you could, it's evolved, from even what he used to do before that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
A real very spiritual kind of gospel sound to it. It was interesting. Yeah.
yeah. And my notes is there was an electric. I guess it started over the acoustic on the second verse, um, and I really like that. Yeah, it's a good song. Flame is kind of weird. That's kind of written in the narrative as almost like a song for someone else to do. That's like a pop
Mm-hmm.
star
Mm-hmm.
that the main character wrote for someone else, and it almost sounds exactly like that. So it's a good song, but it's not as good as the other songs on the album. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I literally wrote, it sounds like a song written for John. Not saying it's bad or good, but I just,
Okay.
having no details about this album and just straight listening to it, I was like,
Yeah.
I could see John singing this, or something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, then that note was written before the female vocals come in, but yeah, I thought it was a good song. It was, exactly what Ethan said. Not as strong as the other ones, but still a good song.
Yeah, that's
For me, this is the song that sounds most like something you'd put in a stage production.
Sure.
Like this was written for a stage production. So that's my only real impression of it is that, yeah.
now that we're talking about it. It's like if I'm comparing songs to Iron Man, it's like Dig. Maybe people want to like it, but they just don't as much as the other things. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
This Mayor Baba M5. This was I was getting I was definitely getting some backlash by this point in the album. In general, just like in general, like even every time I listened through it, like around here, I would start to lose pace, and I don't know if that was because the album was long or it's just like I didn't like the last couple songs before the end. But Mayor Baba M5. Did you guys like it?
The only note I wrote was "What in Weird Al hell." It was just this kind of like accordion, yeah, an accordion.
Accordion.
Jeez,
Yeah, yeah.
accordion sounding synthy thingy, and not for me.
Yeah.
That's
My note was again, is this a Lifehouse outtake? I know it uses Vivaldi as sort of an inspiration and a jumping off point, which is in the title basically. And I know that Pete, through Kit Lambert's efforts, was exposed to a lot of classical music, and that informed a lot of what came, say, after A Quick One. That's pretty much all I got. It's interesting.
right on. By Fake It, I was kind of checked out every time. It didn't stand out. It didn't stand out as something that I don't remember or anything, or something I remember for being bad. I just didn't, I don't really have an impression either way because I think I listened to this album like 6 or 7 times this week, and it never really stuck with me. At that point, I was like, "Is it time for English Boy Reprise yet?"
Yeah, I thought it was a good closing song. It's not the last song on the album, but I thought it kind of just sonically kind of sends you in that direction of like, hey, things are ending.
Right.
And then it's well produced. I think it's a good song. It's just we're at the end of this thing, and I was ready for just to kind of be done listening. So it's just like, all right, come on, let's go.
That same or
my note was, is my boy scatting here? I'm with you guys. I was sort of like, okay, wind this up.
and you can like you can like see that the lights going down on that song, and then someone walking out at the end to sing English Boy again before you go home, kind of thing. And I like English Boy. The second time I would like some like nice edit of English Boy with all the lyrics in it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
When he does the live one that I listen to, it's mostly from the lyrics from the second reprise. Anything else to say about English Boy, the reprise? It kind of builds up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reprise. I didn't.
Yeah.
At that point, I was just kind of mentally done. So I,
Right.
yeah, I was just like, all right, now I got to get through a song I sort of already listened to. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do like the industrial build up to this one for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah. That's anything about the reprise here?
It's really dramatic, and I did enjoy the sort of the violin / harmonica bit from Baba O'Reilly kind of inserted into that.
Sure. And that's
It's a good
definitely
way to end the show.
and that's definitely like a lot of that deep end harmonica sound coming out here. Right. Like full on we're in deep end now. There's a lot more in the Psychoderict story that I might be doing some other stuff on in the next couple of weeks. Because I do think the story is interesting as it relates to Pete's life and personal life, and I think the radio play is probably worth revisiting, and I have a couple versions of that and a couple live performances. So I might do that. I might not. But overall, I think they should have been released with the radio play, like in a second disc or something.
Yeah.
Or this should be on the second disc. You know what I mean? But Pete's gonna Pete, right? You know what I mean? So
I mean, you gotta take a shot and see what happens. And
Yeah.
I mean, radio shows were a thing, when he was little. So
Yeah.
why not? But yeah, it's the other versions just is brutal to listen to. This was eye opening. I really enjoyed this experience and listening to this album and hearing it without just being distracted every 2 seconds with somebody talking over something. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Word.
good experience. I really enjoyed the album.
That's me. I thought that I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, because our experience is the same, hearing the spoken word and just going eject, and there's sometimes with Pete where I'm just like, dude, you could just put a record out and put some songs on it and it's cool. We don't need a concept all the time. But I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. It's a keeper.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad you guys liked it. Great. Psychoderict music only. You should get it. You can still get it. The CDs are really cheap. They never put it out on vinyl. Psychoderict did get put out on vinyl in a reissue in 2006. Had some extra stuff on it, but now that's very expensive and you can't find it. So missed the boat on that one. But anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for listening to the songs. And if you're watching this, thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.
Oh, where I'm gonna go, I'm going round and round on the circle line like some demented kid in a mirror, trying to avoid paying for my ticket. I read about myself in the newspapers.